guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm bringing you your Friday the 13th reading. So there's been a lot of big energies this week, and I thought it might be interesting to look at each of these energies and see how we could utilize them to have an awesome sauce weekend. We had our super full moon on Monday, and they call it super full moon, which happens a few times throughout the year. It's just when the moon appears larger in our sky because due to the tilt of the earth, you know, it's a little bit closer, so it's much bigger and brighter and just makes for some really awesome pictures. And plus you could do a lot with that energy since the pull seems to be so much stronger. I know that I have crazier dreams and it's a little hard to sleep during that time. And I also thought it might be good to look into the energy of the time change. I know not every country does time change, you know, the spring forward where we lose an hour of sleep, and actually not every state in the United States does it as well, but it does herald the coming of spring. You know, spring is just about upon us. Our weather's doing all sorts of crazy things here, at least here in the northern hemisphere. I know that in the southern hemisphere you guys are getting ready for your change and shift as well, so I thought it might be good to look into the energy of spring as it connects to the super full moon, as it also connects to Mercury going direct, which also happened this week, and then looking into the energy of Friday the 13th, you know, how we could utilize that as well, you know, putting all of these energies together and just creating a magic for ourselves this weekend, you know, because we are energy beings and we have command of the energy around us. No, we can't stop certain events. We can sure decide how we will react to those events and, you know, what magic we can make from it. So without further ado, I actually have 4 decks in front of me, which is why I keep looking down, and I'm going to use my Wally's World Oracle Healing Journey Through Sacred Sites, which is my deck, and it was community created and community funded. You can find that on my website, www.kittensweightsandtarot.com. I am going to be using this one to look into the energy of spring, and I'm going to be looking into the moon deck for the energy of the super full moon, which we just had, and I'm going to be looking at the Modern Witches Tarot for Mercury going direct, how we can, you know, utilize the shift in that energy, as well as the Oracle of Shapeshifters. How can we look into the energy of Friday the 13th? So I'm going to pick a card from each, and they will be the combined voice to help you guys through the weekend. So let's take a look. I'm gonna go ahead and pick a card from my Wally's World. I'm just gonna pull all the cards first, and then we'll take a look at what they are so we can look at what our combined message is. We go into the Oracle of the Shapeshifters, and this is for our Friday the 13th, today. I always think, like, is this when my students are going to start howling at the moon? All my little freshies turn into werewolves? Who knows? So for the energy of spring, we have Tombstone, Arizona. This is the world's largest rose bush, or rose tree. And for the super full moon, we have When I Let Others Shine, I Shine Too. And for Mercury going direct, you know, going out of that retrograde period, we have the 8 of Wands, which makes sense. And then for Friday the 13th today, we have Alice in a Sea of Tears, cast away out of your depth, feeling abandoned. Okay, so with all of these cards, let's put them all together for our combined message for the weekend. Okay, so with the coming of spring, it's just a reminder that, you know, not everything could be in that flourishing period, you know, with this world's largest rose bush. It can't be flowering all the time. It does need to take a break. It does have its hibernation period. Certain plants have their cycles, and, you know, it's not like, you know, one flower after another, one leaf after another. Everything takes a little bit of time. So just to remember that, even though we do have the energy of spring where things are like, you know, popping up, things are happening, you know, the world's coming back to life, just not to feel rushed in anything. So if we're taking this into the weekend, maybe not rush through the weekend, not maybe have your head so buried in everything that you have to do, which you may have a lot on your plate. But if it's just work, work, work all the time, you won't have time to bloom and blossom and all of those things. So just kind of keep that in mind for the weekend. And with the super full moon, when I let others shine, I shine too. So if you are one that likes to delegate, saying, okay, I need you to do this, do this, do this, do this, you know, and it's telling people how to do things all the time, because maybe, you know, like to do a little bit of micromanaging, it doesn't really allow people to show their qualities and what they can do. So maybe just let up a little bit. And if this is like with family or friends, and maybe you don't mean it, you know, in a mean way, it's just, you know, you like things done a certain way. But if you allow people to show you what they have, you might start to see things a little differently, like, oh, I never even thought of doing it that way. That's a totally fantastic way of doing things. And people feel valued that way. They feel like they can contribute, you know, something unique that comes from them. So that's what the super full moon is asking us. And it's nice that it's like a big giant moon that they're all dancing around, you know, and it was big and shiny in the sky. So let others shine too. And it's not to say that you hog the spotlight. It could be just, you know, seeing how others might resolve situations or go about tackling a to-do list, and you might learn something new. Also, the end of retrograde, Mercury retrograde, we have the 8 of Wands. So if you had slowed down a little bit on certain technological things and communication, usually, you know, Mercury, we're talking about communication. Mercury is a deity that I work with. Now's the time to start reaching out, to start networking on the things that you've been working on. Either you're doing things for work, you're doing things, you know, for your side hustle or whatever it may be. Now's the time to start working on some of that communication. So start making phone calls, sending emails. If people still have pagers, well, doctors do. Maybe you gotta page a doctor. I don't know, you got some doctor friends. Whatever it may be. Now's the time to really jumpstart that communication process again. And then for today, Friday the 13th, we have Alice in a Sea of Tears. So it's the castaway out of your depth, feeling abandoned. So the only way we could drown in our sea of tears is if that's the energy we're putting out. So if we feel that Friday the 13th is gonna be a bad day, it's gonna be a crazy day, everything bad always happens on Friday the 13th. Well, you know what? Your brain is a powerful thing. You have some powerful magical energy, you know, inside your body here. That's the energy you're gonna put out, and that's probably what's gonna happen. If you say it's gonna be a bad day, it's gonna be a bad day. You know, like I said, we can't always stop the mishaps that may happen. You know, we can't help some of the situations we might get ourselves into, but we need to change our perspective a little bit. It's like, okay, well, that's interesting. So what can I do about it? You know, be proactive instead of reactive, you know, to certain situations. So for this Friday the 13th, going into the weekend, think about being proactive about the things that happen around you. Start reaching out and communicating. Reach out and touch someone you love. ET phone home. All of that for this coming weekend. Also, maybe figuring out a way for not only yourself, but for the people around you to show you the wonderful gifts that they have and what they can offer the world. And also just to remember that you can't be blooming all the time. You can't be flowering all the time. So give yourself a little bit of a rest period, even if it's just for half an hour this weekend. So that is your Friday the 13th reading. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding 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 notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want a reading from me, head over to www.kittensweightsandtarot.com, and not only do I have my readings on my website, but I have my lovely bracelets that I make. I have my room and body sprays, my salves, my Wally's World Oracle, and I also have my newsletter. It's a free newsletter. You can go ahead and sign up. It's just once a month, and that's the only time I send you guys an email. It's just that one newsletter a month. I have DIYs, I have like witchy spells, and I have the decks that I'm working with, the herbs that I'm working with, books that I'm reading, crystals I'm working with, all kinds of goodies. So definitely go check that out. And if you want to throw a little love my way, you know, I would be much appreciative. Join that KWT tribe over at patreon.com/kittensweightsandtarot. I appreciate each and every one of my patrons over there, and I do a lot to show them that they are valued, you know, so I have lots of free goodies over there. So definitely go check it out, and I'll catch you spiritual homies later. All right, peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.